Well, I wanted to give you a few things to think about when it comes to Module 1 in our learning objectives. This really covers the first two chapters of our main textbook, and we're going to kind of figure out what this cost management thing is. What is managerial accounting? And so we're going to talk about how management accounting is different than financial accounting. That'll be one of the first topics. We'll talk about just kind of current issues in cost management. What are some things that management of any company has to worry about and think about when it comes to cost management? We'll talk about how a management accountant at a company, kind of what does that person do? It's kind of a big picture takeaway of some of the things that they're working on and trying to make the company aware of and helping the company get better. Also, we'll talk about ethics. I think when it comes to any grad program, we have to talk about ethics and why they're important. We also will talk about internal controls and the importance of internal controls a little bit too in the first two chapters. Some other topics to think through. What are the objectives of cost management information systems? I'm sure all of you are using a system of some sort in a current position or previous positions. You're using a system, Blackboard, obviously when it comes to learning the class that Doane has provided for everybody. And so kind of just think as management accounting information systems as software that management accountants use to help them do their jobs, and what kind of data goes into it, what kind of data do you extract, and how do you use that data to make good decisions. We'll talk about how to assign a cost. Costs are, remember, fixed. They are variable. They are mixed. They behave different ways. Also, we have to be thinking about how do you assign cost to a customer, a region, a product, a division, a subsidiary company. There's all kinds of ways to slice and dice costs. There's no right or wrong way. It's just lots of ways to do it. So we'll kind of talk about that a little bit. Then also remember that we have both tangible and intangible products. Some companies are manufacturing physical goods. Other companies are producing services and delivering those. So how does accounting differ between the two? There's actually more similarities between the two than you might realize. We'll also talk about when it comes to a manufacturing company, what does their income statement look like? What's a little bit different or unique for a manufacturer versus other companies? And then we'll talk about just different cost management systems. We have more of the traditional kind of simpler way to do things, then we have more complicated ways that we'll talk about and learn through also. So as you read your chapters, very important that you read your chapters in your book this week. Lots of good information in them. It's really critical that you read every page. There's many, many examples. And also pay attention to the terminology at the back of each chapter. That's kind of what the quiz will be over. So kind of be aware of that. And then some of the assignments you have for the week in terms of your discussion forums and some of the problems also relate specifically back to items from the book. So for week one, lots of kind of foundation laying, more or less, in terms of what is this cost management thing? What does it mean? How can I use this information? And so on. And keep in mind that, I'm aware that most of you are probably not accountants by trade, and that's okay. Anybody in business needs to realize how important it is to manage cost and understand how cost behaves, how cost can be allocated, how cost systems can be used to gather data information and then use that to help us make good decisions about our business. So a lot of that is the kind of information you're going to be learning about in week one. Hopefully it's very helpful, and I look forward to learning with you this week.